Lali-Ho and good evening, everybody, and welcome to another match in our bracket stage of the Lali-Ho League. I am Huffin, joined on the mic by Sheep Launcher as we watch PeasantsOMFG and Xenocat face off in this first round match. Sheep Launcher, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, Huffin. This should be a really fun one. Peasants OMFG, the wonder from down under himself, has a 1-0 advantage by virtue of having a better record in the Swiss round. But if anybody can claw their way back and win two straight to advance, it's Xenocat.
Absolutely. These have been two very impressive and, very worthwhile watches during the Swiss round. So getting to see them finally, take on take on a match in what's a bit more of a difficult flag set and a bit higher stakes.
Yes, Xenocat has already run a couple of races using this flag set. Xenocat defeated Rex Banner in the preliminary round, but now we're in the round of 32. It's getting right down to it. The flags are a little bit different from what we saw in the Swiss round. The treasure is going to be T Pro, which means there's not going to be as much stuff lying around, and whatever stuff you do get sells for nothing. Money is going to be at a big premium, so our runners are going to have to save their pennies.
Yep, as we always like to say, money is no object, in that it doesn't exist. We do have the standard shops. Well, our runners are going to go to the shops, I'm sure, but you have to be really judicious about how you're spending what cash you do have, unless you go and do, a gold dragon grind up on the moon. Those things do actually bring you a fair amount.
Yes, and our runners will certainly be ready to look out for money any way they can get them. We do see our objectives up on the board. We have a cane start. They have to complete 4 of the 5 objectives. 3 of them are the standard half cocoa forged, the legend sword with adamant. Another change, you no longer get an Excalibur for that exchange. You get nothing, but the Excalibur is in the key item pool. Complete Cape Magnus, trade away the Pinktail, and 2 character hunts for the 4th and 5th objective. Get Tella and get Rosa.
Yep, you get the option of picking up a white mage or picking up a mage, I guess. Tella is
a mountain mage.
A mountain mage. I don't think that's a proper Final Fantasy class, but we'll go with it. He is actually a very strong utility character, and we have seen a lot of runners be very happy to have a Tella, pretty much at any phase of a run. So these are actually both characters that we're happy to be looking for, and we would kind of be looking for one anyway.
Very much so, and with the 2 character objectives, it might be reasonable to see our runners prioritize the character spots, maybe do the Baron Key check a little bit earlier than normal, maybe a Dwarf Castle check a bit earlier than you'd expect it to, but we're underway.
Absolutely. Let's see who the first character that joins Kane is. That'll be a Rydia this evening, as the Dark Elf provides the Twin Harp. So, come give him a visit sometime, I suppose.
Yeah, Dark Elf says, come on up and see me at my usual place. And Kane and Rydia go off. The kits, a grab bag. I didn't see anything too spectacular in that grab bag, and something like 30,000 GP to get started.
Yeah, not a huge funding to get things going off, so probably want to be doing a little bit of looting. Definitely want to go and grab a 3rd character before you go follow that Twin Harp. That, the Cape Magnus spot, famously, very high magic defense. Right now, Kane is your only source of damage, but that's not a whole lot. You want to augment that a little bit, get another physical fighter in before you start thinking about taking that on. So let's hit up the Watery Pass first.
Yep, both runners going up the Watery Pass. That Kane can develop into a bruiser, but Kane needs some weapons and Kane needs some levels.
Yeah, and you're not exactly starting off with much in the way of equipment. Certainly not anything other than your weapon of choice, which is not going to be the highest of options. We are finding a fire sword. We found a ribbon, which is nice for management and mitigation.
And a Stardust Rod and a Zeus Gauntlet.
That's where the good stuff was, it turns out.
Yes. That's a nice watery pass.
That, honestly, you put the Zeus Gauntlet on your Cane, put the Ribbon and the Stardust Rod on your Rydia, they are solid for the first, 20 minutes of the run.
Yeah, that Stardust Rod, of course, can be used as an item to cast Comet against all enemies. That's going to be very useful while Rydia is still getting her legs under her. Xenocat heading into Kaipo sees Edge in the bed.
Yeah, not an objective character, but a pretty good one to spot. You'll take that. He does run the little handicap of you really need gear to make Edge interesting, but we had enough time. We could find some, maybe, hopefully.
Peasants heading up Mount Hobbs, finds another Cane up there and decides to leave him to stare against Dr. Luge for now.
Yeah, that will be the eternal staring contest, as we have no dupes available in this flag set, so you are not getting a second Cane. You have one Dragoon and you will like it.
Yep, the only potential advantage of taking that fight would be a little bit of experience, not much, and whatever treasure is on the back there, but Peasants decides that particular juice not worth the squeeze.
Yeah, and honestly, when you start with Iridia, I would be more inclined to take the front entrance on Hobbs and see what that spot gives us in terms of a free summon. As Peasants going over to the Antlion Cave and finding a free fight. Here are the officer and soldiers.
Yep, this fight would be a little bit easier with a J item, but these officer soldiers only do physical damage, and the physical damage here at Antlion, not much at all. The Stardust should wipe them away pretty easily.
Yeah, even clears out the officer.
Very nice, gets a little bit of extra experience. And a spoon at the bottom of Antlion Cave.
Well, that would be wonderful if we wanted Edward, but no. Nice for that edge throw. As we saw Leviathan over in the waterfall, thematic and unnecessary to fight.
Yeah, the Leviathan can be the king of that waterfall.
I guess our tracker this evening, Cappy, reminding us that the spoon flag is off, so Edward could play with it, I suppose, but can't use it in battle.
Yeah, I mean, everybody could use a spoon.
They're practical. They're simply a useful item to have around the house. I have several.
Wow, brag much.
of varying shapes and sizes, even.
Do want to thank our tracker Cappy and our restreamer Oscar424 for rolling this particular seed, and that's an Asura as the free summon on Hobbs. Xenocat has half a healer.
Yep, and they have to go out and back in to actually clear away the ice. Usually the summon that you get will do that for you, but Ashura just heals you, and healing doesn't melt ice, it turns out.
No. I think there's an old 50s song about that, but the Xenocat going to continue be disappointed with the character at top of Hobbs. Meanwhile, Peasants going in to defend Fabool encounters a Sparkle. It's the D-Lunars.
Ooh, that can be a little bit rough.
The Stardust should be very nice here. Not going to take care of either of them, but it won't trigger a counter.
Yeah, the main thing, you do not want to use the fight command. That's what's going to set off the wall and the virus counters and generally be a bad time. Otherwise, they're just going to punch and use the fire spell, which is workable.
Yeah, the fire spell does percentage-based damage, so as long as you have a little bit of health, which our runners do because Fabool gives you a free heal, that's certainly manageable. Question in chat, where was that Stardust Rod? That was in the Watery Pass. Both runners went to Watery Pass to start the game, and the weighted looting really did well there. At the start, just Rod, there was a Zeus Gauntlet back there, a Ribbon, a very nice watery pass to start.
And there was a Sand Ruby for defending Fabul, so that is a ninja from the monks.
And that is a useful spoon as well.
And Xenocat also finding the Sylph Summon here in the Antlion Cave. I don't believe Peasants did enough looting for him to find that. So Xenocat's Rydia is like a decent white mage. Once you get her a couple of levels, get her a bit of MP.
Yeah, that Sylph summon will do some work. The Sylph glitch is on in these flags, which means as long as Rydia is not in the middle slot, Sylph never actually costs anything, so as long as Rydia has enough MP to cast Sylph once, she has enough MP to cast it as many times as you want.
Yeah, and that's not only decent healing for your whole party, that's also good single target damage in a lot of situations. So Rydia could start carrying a bit more weight on Xenocat's side.
Peasants did trade in that Sand Ruby, did pick up the edge. And it's going to head straight to Baron Inn.
Yeah, I don't believe either runner checked what character is here just yet.
No, nobody's been to Baron yet in any form. Xenocat gets his spoon. Peasants does have a Charm Claw for no reason.
I think that Charm Claw came with the edge. Again, Sineki gives you some middling weapon that the character can equip, with really the only exception being that Dark Knight Cecil could come with the Deathbringer, and that's actually not that bad as far as Dark Knight Cecil weapons go. But Edge can equip claws. You don't really want Edge equipping claws, but you can.
Well, there are some claws that Edge can do very nicely with, especially against enemies that have elemental weakness.
Yeah, I suppose that is valid. But yes, we are doing this Baron Inn fight for the third Kane that we have seen. There are only 3 duplicates in the entire game because of, there's 13 character spots and we have 10 of the 12 characters available. This is making it a little harder to find that Tella or that Rosa. They're both looking like they're going to be unique.
Very true. And it does make that character that much harder when there's only one spot they could be. And that spot could be at the end of the giant. Could be up on the moon with a tricky darkness crystal. Both runners through the Dark Imps in the first Baron Inn spot and run into Ogo Pogo in the second spot. A little bit rude.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Xenocat. Their Rydia was not high on the HP scale, so has to burn a life potion and is going to start getting, a bit too bullied.
Yeah, Xenocat does not have that third character that really helped out Peasants there.
Yeah, they're going to have to go defend Fabul to get that. And you're going to want to do that, as that's the Magma Key from Baron Inn.
Underground is opened up for Peasants, and Xenocat took an unfortunate wipe. Xenocat has to be hoping that there is something up here on Ordeals that will be a way for them to get back in the race.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a bold move to go for Ordeals this early with this party comp, but the chests have been decent. So far, we've seen a Silk Web, seen that Mute Dagger. Not a terrible approach, all things considered. Unless this is Wyvern. This Sparkle can be Wyvern. It's Paladin, which is not Wyvern.
Yeah, that Pale Dim, that is the best thing you can say about the Pale Dim, is it's not Wyvern. Stardust Rod will continue to do work.
Yep. I believe they also have a Dragon Whip, because I know one was found that I know Peasants has. Pale Demon, that's a dragon. That's a dragon. So that's an
Yeah.
option.
Unfortunately, Rydia cannot dual wield.
I know, that would be so cool.
It would be. Use the Stardust as an item in one hand and the Dragon Whip in the other. Is that something she could do on the after years?
I think that's something she could do when she guest appears in Castlevania.
Okay. Xenocat through the first boss on ordeals. Peasants, meanwhile, dropped his key down the well. And is going to explore the shops in the underground have the potential to have at least one tier 5 item. Tomra does not, just vampires down there. But sirens, hourglasses, Bacchus wines are some of the things that Peasants is looking for.
I think I saw cartographic something or other.
Technician was
Technician. Ah.
Hmm.
A high-quality professional map maker. Good job. Xenocat, meanwhile, is trying to get a random encounter. They did find that Plague is the back attack, and that is a rude back attack if you're not prepared for it, so this is some preparation.
Yeah, one thing you may notice is different about this flag set from some other flag sets, including some past tournaments, is here you can run away from random encounters. So Xenocat will take advantage of this to try and kill their Rydia and have her start the battle on the ground and raise her up in the middle of the battle so that Plague gets confused and keeps casting count, and can do that, and as soon as she's down, Xenocat runs away.
Yep. Meanwhile, Peasants has gone down to the Fame Arch, found the adamant rock in the rat-tailed chest, just cutting out the middleman, and finding Cure 3s for sale. And our bosses down there, that's Odin and Bahamut, was that?
That sure was, yeah.
Yeah, that's some bosses.
2 summon bosses in the 2 summon locations that aren't their usual summon locations. That Bahamut shouldn't be too big a problem with some levels. That Odin, there can be some cheeky strats.
Yeah, the main concern you have with that Bahamut is that the Ashura spot's a kind of fast one, so getting your Star Veils up might be a little tricky, but Peasants feels confident enough to take this on.
Meanwhile, Xenocat, taking on this Plague, has that Rydia in the middle spot.
Yep, and
Just
they have realized the error of their ways. Easy mistake to make, but yeah, if you're leaning on recurring self, gotta be careful about that.
Luckily, they saved after they did their setup, so it's just a simple matter of getting Rydia in the top slot to get her some turns, and Xenocat's right back in it.
Meanwhile, Peasants is pulling through with this Bahamut fight. All Bahamut will do is count down from 5 and then Mega Nuke. And you can reflect Mega Nuke with Star Veils. So, yeah, as long as you're able to keep those walls up, this is a free fight.
Counting on Edge to put out enough damage to make those walls last. Kane wasn't able to jump over that Mega Nuke, but Peasants is through.
So that is a huge splash of XP on that Rydia and that Edge. And we'll see what reward comes from it beyond that. It's a sword for that Edge. So
it's not nothing.
That's honestly very good power to have. You get those levels pretty early. You get a good sword pretty early. It's going to make your next couple of fights seamless. Which is not what we can say about this plague fight that is currently bullying Xenocat.
Yeah, Xenocat goes down to plague again. And when the numbers are backwards, it just adds a little insult to injury. No, you do not have 80 seconds. You only have 8.
Yeah, afraid so.
Peasant's going to dip down into the Sylph Cave, say hi to Young, and then head back to the overworld, you would think.
That's usually the pattern that you take. You do this visit, go and hit the Sheila 1 check, but with our 2 objectives, with 2 of them being getting characters, you got the Dwarf Castle right there. It gives a character.
Yeah.
At least peek it, maybe. I would peek it.
See who's dancing behind that wall, but Peasant's not going to do that quite yet. You need 4 of these 5 objectives, and 3 of them involve key items. One of the objectives we already have the key item we need for it, but still, check your freebies is Peasant's thought here. He could be coming back to Fabul to get a better cane weapon as well. I did notice earlier in Fabul there was an Ogre Axe for sale.
But meanwhile, Xenocat finally gets through that plague fight. Having a couple of Sylph summons to throw out, huge deal. We get a tower key from Sheila 1. That's interesting.
Do want to welcome in the Raiders coming in from Randomania 3. We are underway for a little bit in this round of 32 match between PeasantsOMFG and Xenocat. Both our runners started with a twin harp. Neither runner has checked Cave Magnus yet. The objectives get Tella, get Rosa. We haven't seen any of those yet. We saw an edge in the bed in the Sand Ruby, and in fact, PeasantsOMFG has picked up that edge.
Yep, and we have seen 2 canes. One in the Baron Inn, one on Mount Hobbs, and now we have seen a Golbez up on Mount Ordeals. Xenocat has been going through Ordeals. Peasants decided to go to Fabul, where that Sand Ruby was, and then follow it along to Baron. So that has been his route, and that's led him now to the Dwarf Castle.
Yeah, the Ordeals has not been fun. Bailed him in the front spot, Plague in the back attack spot, Golbez in the room, and not even a key item to show for it.
And worse than not even a key item, it's a crystal hat. It's a hat for Cecil. We haven't seen a Cecil.
Peasants has a Siren going to crack open an egg or 2.
Yep. Apparently has decided that Rydia does not need to get any more XP than she has. We have found that Sylph summon that Xenocat is using. Nashra is the Hobbs summon, so yeah, I think Xenocat is leaning more towards using Rydia as a healer, while Peasant's leaning more towards using her as an anchor.
And Peasants parking outside of Troya. Looks like he's going to make the plunge into Cave Magnus. He's got the physical firepower right now to deal with it, you'd have to think. The Twin Harp has been burning a hole in his pocket since he got it right at the very beginning.
Yeah, so as we were saying, like, we want a bit of physical power before we even try going.
Yep, and Peasants has that longsword, has a Strength Ring and a Zeus Gauntlet, so should be able to put out some physical damage.
But, Tella is available. I totally see doing ordeals. Just prep for that.
Sure, it's not a it's a bold play, but it's certainly not an indefensible one.
But as we have Xenocat going and defending for Bull, we do have Peasants going into K Magnus. We're gonna get some music in a moment. Music's nice.
Yeah, it's always nice to sit back, relax, listen to some tunes.
Yeah, some jams perhaps, a bop even.
Ooh, a real banger. Well, Edward is going to play us some lovely harp music. So keep spamming those harp emotes in chat. Well, that was a lovely date with Bigan. Peasants gets through. That was harp song was interrupted by fireworks from Final Fantasy VII. Gorgeous.
Was that the date scene music? It's been a while since I played 7.
It sure was.
And that's a good reward for doing Cake Magnus. Sure, you get objective 2 checked off the board, but that Excalibur, if we find a Cecil, that's good gear to have.
Yes, and especially now, finding Cecil is something that both of our runners would welcome. That Excal, very good for him. Not a crystal sword, but then again, what is?
Well, I mean, a crystal sword is.
Are we being deontological now?
Yes.
Xenocat, meanwhile, did defend Wolf, did get that Sand Ruby, did pick up that edge. And now they're heading to Baron Inn and going to get their Magma Key shortly. So Peasants has quite a few options at this point. He does have the Tower Key, does have Dwarf Castle he can do.
Yeah, I feel like the tower is a bit appealing. Certainly, you have the 2 character checks, but as you mentioned, you are looking for some key items, and you get 2 key items out of that. I don't know about that over Dwarf Castle. I guess it's kind of a coin flip, really.
It really is. What do you want to emphasize at this point? and Peasants is going to make that trek up ordeals.
Yeah, I guess, more incentive as you have more desire to grab a Cecil now than even before. And hey, if you are stuck in a coin flip situation, give yourself a little time to think, if nothing else.
Yeah, get a couple more levels as well, and do a little bit of looting. Peasants will be happy with that Silk Web and that Bacchus Wine, in addition to the Mute Dagger that we saw Xenocat pick up there too.
Yeah, I did not notice the Bacchus Wine earlier. If we got Rydia playing, Artificial White Healer, or Artificial White Mage rather, she can't Zerk. We need wine.
Yes. Xenocat heading directly to Aggert, going to drop that Magna Key in the well. Meanwhile, Peasants taking on the fearsome dragon at the top of the mountain, which sounds like a fantasy story.
I mean, it's Final Fantasy, so yes.
It's Final Fantasy V, I suppose.
No, this is 4.
Oh, right.
The 5 randomizer is different.
Yeah, they've taken all the pirates out of this game.
Yeah, for an early Final Fantasy game, this is very low on the piracy.
Peasants has some more levels to deal with this plague, but the plague at this spot is really fast, as Xenocat already found out. So, going to try and win a damage race here.
But yeah. Bacchus Wine and a Boomerang, that'll do you.
So unlike some other floating things in this game, Plague actually floats. So Plague is susceptible to weapons that damage floating creatures.
Yep, like bows and arrows, or boomerangs, or dragoons.
Yes. Xenocat still looting Tamara. Disappointed in that shop. We'll see if Xenocat makes the same calculation that Peasants did, that this Bahamut is doable at these levels. Also does have a source of Lit 1. Maybe that Odin is in play too? That would be a bigger ask.
That's a bold move. Maybe the kind of bold move you have to make in a tournament setting, but it certainly qualify as bold.
Xenocat did find that trap chest, which means they can loot out the rest of the walk to the to the land of summoned monsters with impunity. There's only one trap chest down here.
Meanwhile, Peasants is going to have a slightly longer Golbez fight just because he has 3 characters and actually has to go through this whole rigmarole. Xenocat got to do this with only 2 party members, so that Shadow Dragon had no interest.
Yeah, the Shadow Dragon only eats until there are 2 left, and when there are only 2, the Shadow Dragon decides to be really picky. But Peasants is through. There's only 1,000 HP at that spot. Golbez sputters a question. And so, again, after this, Peasant still has that decision to make. Do you want to value the character check? Do you want to value more key item checks. Um, I think he has the levels to take on either of those if he wants to.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. Either one of them is possible. So you're still in that kind of coin flip mode. Uh, I do suppose the dwarf castle check is a bit faster on the whole.
The other thing is that Peasants does have that edge. Both our runners do. The tower has um, is are the alerts holding sirens in these fights?
Yes.
Okay, so a single dip of tower to get both those key items plus steal all the sirens you're going to need for your final party. That might be an impetus to save the tower.
Yeah, that's definitely an option. I mean, we have seen that sirens were for sale. I believe they were. We did see peasants use one. So there's may not be as much necessity for that, but that might still be a good idea. We did not start with a ton of cash, so if you can save a bit that way, that's cool.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen sirens for sale yet. I believe there was one siren looted out of Watery Pass.
Okay.
But Peasant's going to take on the dancing Octoman. Those dancing tentacles, really impressive.
I want to make a joke about a dance style, but I actually don't know dance styles, so I don't know what would be an appropriate kind of dance for an octopus to do.
The mollusk arena. No?
Right.
Please clap. Octoman has, about 8,500 HP in this spot. Does slow down with every hit, so even Rydia getting in on it with an Ice 1. So there are worse enemies to find in this first Calbrena spot.
Yeah, absolutely. And this spot has worse magic attack than you might think. So getting something that's entirely physical is a little bit of a relief on that front.
Peasant is through. Chad is pointing out some dances that Octoman could do. Aria pointed out the Octomambo.
Solid one. That Rosa, solid one.
Yes, that's an objective. And Magus Sisters in the Golbez spot.
Not a ton of HP in this spot, and with that Mute Dagger, it'll go by even faster.
Yeah, that Mute Dagger slices through mage types. Already the middle sister taken care of. Just a cool 4K on Sandy.
Yeah, no big deal.
But that Rosa is the bigger prize here. Xenocat, meanwhile, gets their tower key. If you're Xenocat in this situation, do you feel behind?
Definitely. After the second wipe to Plague, you feel behind. If there was some value on ordeals, probably not, because you would know that Peasants has gone through that as well, but with where the Magma Key was, you have to feel like, okay, my opponent probably didn't do anything with ordeals at all, even at this point. And yeah, you gotta be stressed out on that front.
Luca has the package around her neck. For Peasants, that's another character check. but kind of running out of Kiana spots to check. Really?
Yeah, you've got the tower, you've got Odin. I know which of those two I would rather do, and Peasants is going to go along with that.
Yeah, sometimes the path of least resistance is just the better path.
Oh no, he's actually rather clever, taking a save at the bottom of the tower and then going and checking the package. If this isn't a character you care about, reset out. You're back where you want to be.
And that's Cecil, and he's thinking about it, and he's going to go through with it.
That's a character you want. Navy Way is a bit rude this evening. How dare you? But we will get this paladin.
Yeah, Naming Way decides to rename this town Rubble.
I think by conventions this would actually make it Blasting Way. But as Peasants goes through all of these cutscenes and shenanigans, let's have some music from Xenocat's side.
Encore! Encore! Chat pointing out, meanwhile, that Peasants now has the vanilla end game party team.
It's a good party to have.
Xenocat going through their date with Bigan. Peasants buying exits from a Kaipo and then almost having to use one because of Kaipo Lady.
Yeah.
Xenocat is through, lights up an objective.
That is objective number 2 on their side, as well as the Excalibur. They will still have to go down to Dwarf Castle to pick up not only objective number 5, but in a roundabout way, the Cecil to use that.
Peasant's going to give that Cecil the crystal hat. And the Excalibur,
yeah.
of course.
You got it, you flaunt it.
Yes. Now, does the crystal hat protect against Berserk? That is why I was remarking on it.
Nope, it is only the armor, the body piece. Everything else is just shiny and high stats.
Yep, the crystal hat lets Berserk go straight to your head. That's how I'm going to remember it from now on.
That works.
Peasants is going after those trap chests to sneak those sirens. And we talked at the top of the broadcast about the importance of saving your pennies and having this edge along to sneak these sirens away really is a way to maximize the limited resources you have. Xenocat, meanwhile, going through that dwarf castle, going to run into that Octomam.
Yep, continuing to lean on Sylph for a good bit of damage and a good bit of health sustain. Not a bad strategy. It's a little slow. Any summon is a little slower than you would like, but it does get the job done.
And it's so interesting to hear.
It is definitely a sound effect. It's definitely a sound effect that those sylphs do.
Yep. Peasants finding out those stone men hit really hard.
They're made of stone. Of course they do. They're not marshmallow men.
Oh, but what if they were? That would be
Well,
sweet.
I mean, those still kind of hit kind of hard, and then they just only are vulnerable to magic.
Yeah, they knock over buildings and things.
Yes, yes.
It's been a while since I've seen that movie. I can't.
I was thinking about the actual slime type enemies in this game, and now I'm imagining one, but it's like Godzilla size, just a massive pink puff.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine the pink tail that pink puff would drop?
It will get you several adamant armors if that flag is on.
Don't talk to me unless you have a tail. Whoa! Look at all these tails. Peasants did 1 siren, has 3 left, and now is going to take on that tower. I wonder what the math he's doing is. He seemed to have levels to me, but he might have been wanting to pump up that Cecil just a little bit more to deal with the top of the tower, which doesn't have that much power, but it does have a ton of HP.
Yeah, I didn't see anything pop in terms of like getting Rosa certain healing spells or getting Rydia certain offensive spells. I think it was just, let me get Cecil beyond level 1 and see where we go from there.
Yeah, Rosa, I believe, did get berserked from that trap.
Okay. That would be critical. None of it matters though, because that's Yang up here, and we have a paladin. So.
Mm-hmm. Yang is soon going to learn the meaning of the word "ouch." So, in case you don't know, Yang has a story trigger where, after he does 2 kicks, if you hit him just once with a paladin Cecil, Yang says "ouch" and falls over.
Yep, it's another one of those free fights where you just have to be able to survive long enough, and you're done. Surviving long enough, though, is an operative phrase, and some of Peasant's party members are not doing that.
No, that Rydia in the front row, taking a big damage from Yang's sword. But gets a nice piece of Hanzo's steel from the top.
Ooh, yeah.
So Peasants' edge is really kitted out at this point. That sand ruby worth its weight in platinum.
It's worth its weight in steel, if nothing else. Xenocat, meanwhile, is coming into the tower as well, but they did not do the package. They do not have a paladin. So they're going to have to do that fight legitimately when they get to the top.
Yeah, and The physical attack up at the top of the tower. Uh, Nothing to sneeze at. Oh, hello, Wyvern.
Hmm.
Oh, did you say it?
Whoa. Didn't need to.
Didn't need to. Survives. This spot has about 1,000 HP. And that'll get your pulse racing, if nothing else.
Yeah, that's a little scary. This is for pretty much every other boss in the game, except Golbez. This is a totally free fight. Wyvern, though. Wyvern.
The Wyvern is just so special. Just so special.
Wyvern just likes to be noticed. And we noticed that.
We sure did. I believe that's all the lunar sparkles in this game.
I believe you're right, yes.
So, no more lunar bosses. We'll see what other rudeness is out there. I am noticing that we haven't seen Antlion yet, which means Antlion's on the move.
Yeah. Not a fan of a lunar bug.
Meanwhile,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say Xenocat has their Rosa in the front row, and front row mages take damage from this spot. So some nice gear from the tower, but nothing substantial. Peasants
Yeah,
are going to go Demus hunting, I think.
Yep, this is Demus hunting, but I think we have seen this spot already on Xenocat's side.
I don't think we have, but it's not a Demus.
Yeah.
Xenocat did check out the waterfall.
Mhm.
Found Leviathan there.
So that means our answer is Odin.
Yeah, unless the Demus is at Magus Sisters, which that would be that might be a bridge too far. Peasants has to go check that Odin and try to get him thunderstruck. So Odin at Leviathan. Why is this the last check, Huffman?
Because it sucks and it hurts and it's painful and bad. uh, Leviathan punches. Leviathan magics. Leviathan just hurts a lot and has a lot of HP and is fairly fast. It's, a secret endgame boss, basically, that would reward you with the Leviathan summon, which is a good summon. Odin, he punch, he magic, he takes advantage of being fast. So everything that you don't want a spot to be when Odin is there, that's what the Leviathan spot is.
Yeah, that Odin will punch hard. That Odin attack will hit all of your party members for just boffo damage. There's no real way to cheese this with this party. If there was an Edward, it might be a little bit easier, but yeah, this is just going to be a test of real endurance and skill. And Peasants is going to gird his loins with some sirens.
For as rude of a funnel in the route as this is, and this is a rude funneling that this route has taken. This is the sort of thing that challenges the runners, that proves you have learned the game, you understand how to get through a seed, you understand how to use your resources. Those are honestly very interesting seeds to watch and interesting ones to run. And as we get into these bracket stages, as we get higher and higher up, you kind of want to see more of these. You want to see these high skill players shine.
Very much so, and these are two very high skilled players. Make no mistake. Xenocat, meanwhile, made it through that Yang at the top, kept their wits about them, and got through that Wyvern in the cannon room, will get their nice gear, but then we'll be faced with the same uh, dilemma that Peasants is facing, that they have to take on that Odin.
Yeah, well, they still have the package to go examine, and I strongly suspect they will take that paladin. Uh, but yeah, as Chad has pointed out, smart play from Xenocat. You know, we had counted the sparkles. We knew that was going to be Wyvern, and once they saw that, battle speed goes down. We're gonna take care of this pretty easily.
Yep, and got that edge to get that first turn, slice through for 600 plus damage, and that was enough. Peasant's going to hunt around for a little bit of an upgrade, see if anything strikes his fancy. Finds a bow, and needed a bow to back row glitch that Cecil earlier. So he picks up a great bow.
Yeah, I guess Rosa didn't come with a bow. I didn't pay enough attention to see what she did come with, but yeah, normally she would, but not with this flag set.
Nope, the Xeneci flag does do a little bit of work there. And Xenocat, meanwhile, going to try and sneak some sirens of their own. Peasant's readying up, turns his battle speed down to 4, just to give himself a little bit of a chance to get some turns in. And here we go.
And has it set up so that Cecil will be covering anyone who gets swung at. Yeah, there goes that spoon. Use that. This is where you use the spoon. This is
Yeah.
spoon time.
Takes that hit, but that Cecil goes down, and this could get ugly real fast.
Those are large numbers. Those are the numbers you want to do to the boss. Those are not the numbers you want to see from the boss.
Even a back row Cecil in some good armor, taking over 700 and as much as 1,000 damage per hit. This is a really strong Odin. Question in chat: does the boss behind the tower door in the cannon room drop a key item? It does, and in this case, it's not a key item; it's a ninja hat.
Yep, Xenocat has just wrapped up that sequence. The key item is slightly delayed for cinematic purposes.
Yep, you gotta give Yang the chance to be the hero and sacrifice himself, and not die in the vanilla story, because nobody ever dies in the vanilla story.
No.
Except one. Who we're still looking for.
Yeah, and at this point, we actually have a decent number of character checks still available. We've got the 2 from the Earth Crystal, 1 at Baron Castle, 1 on the Lunar Dais, and then 1 in the Giant. Oh, and 1 in the Hook Route. I always forget the 1 in the Hook Route.
Right. Yeah, so Tala can still be out there. We haven't had a ton of key items yet, granting us access to those characters. We've had a couple, but the key items we have gotten us some really good characters. That Edge has really carried these parties for real stretches. This Paladin does a lot of work, and of course the Rosa is necessary. As it zerks up that paladin, that edge took a huge 2000 hit. Not every day you see a slumber sword as a dart.
Hey, you use anything you got at this point.
All hands on deck.
What it was asking in chat, how much HP do we have to chew through on this spot? 35,000. Now that one spoon will get almost 10k of that down, but that's still 25,000 they have to chew through. And you probably wanted to get it all before a single Odin cast.
That is not a small number. That is a big
Absolutely
number.
not. Yeah, for comparison, that is more than many of the lunar boss spots. Ogopogo is the only one that's comparable at 37,000. So yeah, it's a lot. This is going to be painful.
Not quite that time. Peasants will regroup and try again. Xenocat, meanwhile, defeats all of the elements that decide to invade the Kaipo Inn.
It's like the innkeeper left the window open. It's like you're letting all the elements in. Shut that thing already.
You have stock in the power company? Well, while we have the chance, I'd like to thank our restreamer Asuka424 for rolling this this nice little test of our runners' skills here, and our tracker Cappy for keeping us honest. And thanks to Hupfin, my co-commentator.
Yeah, thank you, Sheep Launcher. We're gonna be here a bit, I suspect. So it's good company to have. And if you're watching and have not given these two runners a follow, like, they are skilled runners, and you're going to see proof of that as we go through this. They're going to be subjected to some difficult spots or some difficult choices. I think Xenocat might be thinking Maga's sister spot.
You know, it's a possibility they could be going on a world shopping tour to see
could.
what's available. But, you know, knowing what we know, that'd be a check I think would be defensible.
Yep, looks like I was calling a little premature, but honestly, if I know Odin at Leviathan is my only other option, I'm peeking that. I'm playing that gamble because I don't want to do this Odin fight. I don't want to have to do this Odin fight.
Xenocat, checking all the weapon and armor shops. What do you think they're searching for? Maybe a curse string?
That would be very beneficial. They picked up a drain sword.
Is that for edge to throw?
I would be a little surprised. I don't know strats that involve using a drain sword against Odin, but I don't know about a lot of strats, so...
Yeah, we know about drain spear strats, which drain spears are very good for edge to dart because they have high stats high attack stats that's the only thing that dart really cares about is the attack stat of a weapon. So drain spears are very good to have on hand, and especially if you're going after this Odin, just having a stack of them to dart. But I don't think drain swords have the same property.
No, but Flurry in chat is making a good point. Part of the whole drain weapon thing, they do reduce some of your stats, and that can include agility. So we may not have a cursed string, but we do have a cursed blade, and that might be what Xenocat is leaning on.
Peasant's Cane did survive that Odin attack, was able to get a life potion off on Edge. Edge gets one off on Cecil. gonna try and hang on by the skin of his teeth.
This is looking like it's just gonna be a 1-for-1, just constant trades at this point.
Does raise that sword. I don't know if Peasants is counting. I'm certainly not. And he does it!
Oh, wow!
He pulled it out!
That is Odin down for Peasants, and a
the reward-
Luca key!
What a reward! Just a Luca key, just another annoying check. The chain continues. Oscar, you've done it again.
And again, we have no idea if this is actually necessary. We don't know where D-Mist is. We have not checked Zot.
That would be such a troll. Such a troll. But what a clutch maneuver by Peasants.
Yeah, absolutely impressive play. Xenocat getting into this fight, going more strategic, sets up a blink on Kane. That makes you just immune to any of the physical hits. And, you know, if you can blink enough and jump enough, maybe you could Thunderstruck.
Xenocat gonna give it a try. Just needs to dodge that Odin attack a couple times. I know they have a Zeus Rage and a Lit Bolt in their inventory, so can use either one of those, I believe.
Yep, any lit spell cast, if you do it at the right time. That looked a little too early. Little too early.
Oh.
But they have the setup down pat. So they just have to time that lit cast right. That will one-shot Odin regardless of his HP. And they will be in a very good position. They will make up a ton of time that Peasants spent on that fight.
Yes. Xenocat sets their battle speed to 3, but if they can make up the time here, that would really, really help out. Peasant's going to check that Luca item.
Oh, it's vanilla.
Vanilla Darkness Crystal.
So this is looking like a required chain. I mean, it can't be anything other than required chain. And a vanilla evil. This whole cave is just layered in vanilla. That sounds actually very distressing.
Oh, it sounds delicious to me.
But the walls of a cave being... I don't know. I'm not going to eat a cave, is what I'm saying.
Don't knock until you tried it. That's all I'm saying. This evil wall, anywhere you find it, it's going to be really annoying, really punchy. Here in its vanilla spot, it's not a lot of fun.
Now, there are spots where, you know, it's a bit slower or just generally lower HP and easier to handle. But this is supposed to be a scary fight when you do it vanilla. And yeah, it remains as such. But hey, Xenocat gets the Thunderstruck.
Yeah,
they are through Odin.
Timing was perfect that time. Well done by Xenocat. What a fight.
Absolutely. Makes up a ton of time, showing off very good knowledge of the game, very good skill on that front. Just we have an exciting race now.
We sure do. So Xenocat's gonna be on their way to Luca Cave. Has to take the long way out of the land of summoned monsters. Peasants, meanwhile, makes that wall come tumbling down. And is presumably going to be on his way to Mysidia, where he has a big decision to make. What route do you take on the move?
I kind of feel like bottom up, but that's if you feel strong enough to do so. Because At this point, if Tella's not on that lunar dais, you just want all the key items. You want to just forget about them, hopefully, if you can pull that off. And that's where all the density is. It's down at the bottom.
Yeah, if Tella's not on the dais, you need 3 more key items. And yeah, you just got to go where they are. And at the bottom is where they happen to reside. So peasants will likely do that. Going bottom up is very popular, although in the Swiss round we saw some meta with going top down, which was very exciting to see. It's always fun when the meta shifts just a little bit. Just enough to leave you feeling a little on edge.
And there is also the factor of how many sirens folks have kicking around. Peasants and Xenocat both have a handful in their respective inventories. Where do you pop those? And specifically, do you maybe go down into Cave Bahamut and go for the reuse in that? Do you take a Warlock grind? Like, what do you feel equipped to do, and how does that inform your route?
Yeah, Peasants doesn't really have dragon killing equipment, but Peasants does have an Excal Cecil, a Hanzo Steel Edge.
Yeah, I don't know if I saw mute bells of any meaningful quantity. Those make the Warlock grind pretty seamless.
Didn't find any there if he was looking for them. Xenocat, meanwhile, going to discover their double scoop of vanilla. And Peasants decides now is the time for space. Going to check the Hummingway shop here.
The buddies be having a party.
Yeah, they got the wine. And they're willing to share with us. The Peasants gets a whole bunch of them. 5,000 a pop, they're not cheap, but they're worth it.
Yep, that is very valuable resources, especially with this party. We've got a source of Zerk, but it's one. And we got 3 characters that we want to Zerk up.
Yep, 3 characters hungry for that Zerk in action. And yeah, just one Rosa doing Zerk isn't going to be enough.
Every dupe is Kane.
Oops.
Every...
We have an Oops All Canes. Would you like a Betrayer? Would you like a Betrayer? How about now?
They're simply too sharp and pointy for me.
Yeah, in case you weren't here from the beginning, we started with Kane. And Baron Inn had a Kane, Mount Hobbs had a Kane, and now the Lunar Deus has a Kane. And there are no dupes in these flags. So even if we wanted to have a party full of Canes, we can't. So that means Rosa was in the only place she could be in Dwarf Castle, and Tella, wherever he is in the only place he could be. Xenocat makes it through that evil wall with all 5 of their characters standing. Another well-done fight from Xenocat, and Xenocat will be blasting off to the moon shortly as well.
And I just missed what was sitting in the Bahamut spot, but Peasants wants none of it. Oh, it was Antlion. Yeah, I want none of it.
No, Antlion at that spot is super rude. The Bahamut spot, one of the punchiest in the game, and that's all Antlion does is punch.
Yep, generally speaking, if the boss at that spot normally does all magic, their physical attacks are really, really strong, and vice versa. So to get Bahamut, which just casts Mega Nuke, and then put a physical attacker, that's paid. That's bad. It's run away very quickly and go into the lunar subterrane instead.
Yeah, and especially, we've been talking about the scarcity of the resources. We haven't found many illusions, and those can make a fight like that a little bit better, but with only one white mage and not too many of those particular J items, it's just going to be a really painful time that peasants will want to delay for as long as possible.
That is Xenocat now going and raising the big whale themselves. So we know whatever we need, it's going to come from the moon. See how well our runners can handle this subterrane.
Yeah, and there are still a bunch of chain checks back on the blue planet that the moon can have. So it'll be interesting to see if our runners commit to a full clear here, or if they start running off and, for example, chasing a pan or chasing an earth crystal.
Yeah, I think funny enough, this might be where, like, the amount of exits that you bought, you might be thinking about that. Now, Cecil is going to have exit. You can cast that. You don't need them anymore. But you went and bought those with the mindset of, how much am I going to have to use this sort of thing? And, how often am I going to want to save on the moon, exit back to the Earth, check stuff, and, reset out if that doesn't work. So there's all of those little, like, strategic decisions.
And right away, a bonus round.
Yeah, this is a good nudge back to the blue planet, but again, I don't think you want to do it quite this early.
Demist, of course, has a key item. Once you defeat the Demist and go back to visit Rydia's mom, this spot will hit a little bit, and will be slow because it has quite a bit of HP.
Yeah, and as Chad is mentioning, for game design reasons, Demist is weak to the dark element, which makes it resist the holy element, which the Excalibur is. So Cecil is not going to be pulling as much weight as you would like.
No, and Cecil did trigger that Cold Mist, which is more annoying than anything. But it will absolutely bleed time, and when you're on the run like this and you're an hour and 15 in and you get a Cold Mist, it just rankles every part of you, like, oh, I need to go, go. Question in chat asking if either runner picked up a black sword. Either way, once Cecil becomes a paladin, he renounces the ways of the Dark Knight, and so can't equip a black sword anymore.
Yeah, and as I was describing the Drain Sword as a bit cursed, but that's, conceptually cursed, not dark elemental cursed. Sometimes you just feel conceptually cursed, not actually cursed.
I feel conceptually and actually cursed some days. Why limit it to just one?
Mm-hmm. So, covering your bases.
Exactly. But Peasants keeping up those blinks with that Rosa, and Rosa actually doing a little bit of damage herself. Xenocat also making the business decision not to mess with that antlion in the Bahamut cave.
Yeah, that is a strong and smart decision, and if that antlion is protecting something of value, well, we'll all just be sad again.
Doing a lot of damage to that front row Cecil. And here is our first real divergence, maybe possibly feeling behind play. Xenocat is going top down.
Yeah, the one advantage of doing top down, generally speaking, the bosses tend to get ruder as you go further down. Ogopogo, of course, being the canonical rudest of noodles. So this Rubicante here is not quite as bad as if it were in a later spot, for example. It's still a lunar boss. It's still kind of bad, but should not be as much of a challenge.
Yeah, we were saying earlier that Xenocat might feel behind, even with that excellent Odin play. Might still feel behind. Xenocat's up against it anyway because they're already down one game, need to win 2 in a row. So they might feel now's the time to take a chance. And Peasants gets the pan.
So for one, that's 10 key items on his front, and that's 2 key item location checks if he goes back to the blue planet, which there's a time investment in that, though. That's the problem.
That's a 3 because the D missed as well.
Ah, yes. So very high density, but again, you're committing that time.
I'm going to check out the ribbon room and encounter a mom bomb here. Also not very much fun.
Yeah, it's punchy. There's that. That's a problem. And then it'll explode, and that's a punchy explosion, I guess. This is not friendly.
No. All in all, I'd rather deal with Radio's mom than Mom Bomb. But Peasants decides to stay on the moon. This Mom Bomb isn't doing as much damage as it could be in this spot. Xenocat emptying out the shurikens on this Rubicant in the Pale Dim spot.
Yeah, you use what you got.
You can't sell it for anything.
Yeah, one huge advantage they have with how they handled Odin, I think they still have that spoon around.
Very true. And to have Xcal Cecil continuing to do work on Peasant side. Mom Bomb isn't resistant to Holy, so you can see the full damage it can do. Xenocat is through that Rubicant.
As Peasants gets through the Mom Bomb, Xenocat just gets a Gungnir for the fight, though.
Ooh.
But not much better reward in that ribbon room.
Just a cat claw and a silent staff, which I think Peasants looted a cat claw from Tower of Zot, so. Or from Tower of Babel, I should say, but still has 3 checks to do, but is going to check out the Ogopogo altar.
So I would say if this Ogopogo altar gives us nothing or is the alt gauntlet, I would almost consider chasing Pan now. With that D-miss bonus, that's actually quite a lot down on the blue planet, and it's a heck of a lot easier than fighting anything up here.
It would be in the back of my mind during this fight. what's hiding down there from me while I'm tangling with this fight, whoever it is.
It's
Just
free.
bearing cards.
So yeah, we haven't seen a lot of the free fights, so this is a relief.
Going to equip that Mute Dagger on Edge. The Baron cards are mage-type enemies, so this Edge will be slicing and dicing.
Or lying on the floor.
You know, with everything that we predict that we're going to do, while staying upright is kind of the default assumption. But one of the things I haven't seen any lootings of or even for sale, any hourglasses, which would really help. And mute bells would also help against this fight, and I haven't seen those either.
Yep, but actually so will size. You won't prevent these piggy counters or the small counters, but these punches are only going to do one apiece at this point, so the fight is obnoxious but free.
Yep, once they're small, they are much easier to take punches from, and Edge is just doing quad nines. Very nice from Peasants there, gets through it. I believe that Rosa learned Cure 4 there. Just a Dragoon Shield.
Yikes. So Xenocat maintaining this top down, going to the Wyvern altar, going to the Crystal Sword spot. This could be something good, just because we've seen so many things that weren't at this point. And Peasants is
Exiting out.
yeah, either going to leave entirely or resetting to go top down and clean out the rest of it. Nope, that is returning to the blue planet.
Yep. Peasants decides now is the time to go fetch. He's got 3 key item checks, and he's going to go turn them in now.
Meanwhile, Xenocat has a Mylon Zed to fight, has an Excalibur Cecil. This is not going to be a problem.
Yep, tried to use that Sylph to get a little bit of HP on Rosa maybe, but Rosa's too far gone for that. I see people in chat chanting for the Giant. It's very unlikely that the Giant is going to be visited. Well, there's value right there. Legend Sword with Rydia's mom. Thanks, Mom. Very unlikely that Giant is going to be visited because there's no Demus, so there's no key item there. You don't get a key item for completing the Giant, and there are no boss hunts we're going on. So the Giant's just going to sit there.
Yeah, if Tella is the character reward from doing the Giant, then we are going to do the other 4 objectives. So we only have to do 4 out of the 5. And Peasants is going to do number 1 right now. Handing over that Adamant Rock and that Legend Sword. Kokol will produce his finest work yet, and then keep it.
Yeah, Kokol just going to admire it, hang it on the wall, whatever it is.
It's going to submit it to a competition, a blacksmithing competition of some degree.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, probably go to win, honestly. And we wish him the best.
I hope he does. I'm rooting for him. And Xenocat gets a Leviathan summon. And so that means unless there's something behind that antlion in Value Cave, the Demus and the Pan, the only value from the moon so far. And that could contain a huge chain all on its own.
Yeah, that is 2 key item locations remaining, both of them coming from the Pan. Peasants is getting the first one right now. That could be 2 separate chains That's a thing. That's a pink tail.
That's incredible. So much value packed into one spot, and Peasants isn't even done yet.
Yep.
And Sheila 2's got to be something unless the game really wants us to go defeat that antlion.
I mean, at this point, unless Sheila 2 gives us the Baron key specifically, there has to be value in cave value. It may not be required to complete it, but there has to be something.
Could be an Earth Crystal from Sheila 2 as well.
Yeah, and then it can chain into Baron. But it definitely can't be Hook or Rat. It's Hook, so that's Go mode, and that's a rude antlion.
And that rude antlion is just gonna hang around there. Wait for somebody to play with it, but Peasants isn't interested. Peasants is in Go mode. So the Demus held the pan, and the pan turned into the pink tail and the hook, and Rydia's mom had the legend sword. Just incredible value.
Very concentrated. This is just funnels, just very specific.
Yes. This seed has a very exact idea of what it wanted you to do. Defeat that Odin to get the Darkness Crystal, defeat that D-Mist to win the game. That's all.
Yeah, you just had to, be able to do that. And that's, sure, no problem. Just, a rude boss in a rude location, and then again.
Sometimes Free Enterprise is a very simple game.
And then other times, Free Enterprise is an easy game.
Peasants gets that crystal, has no need to worry about game. Oh, and there's a crystal sword.
This is your reward for enduring these trials laid before you.
So Peasants in the low to mid 40s for levels. We'll see what he thinks of those levels. If he needs to do just a little bit more grinding, or if he's good to go.
Heading underground. Looks like a little more grinding. Yes, this means that the Earth Crystal, the Baron Key, the Rat Tail, all of those collectively are behind Antlion at Bahamut. We don't know what the order is going to be, and we're not going to find out.
No.
But that's a lot of density behind a different fight, and none of it would have mattered.
No, the pass would save a little bit of time, but not the time required to chase all that down.
Yeah, this is just making me envision, like, to be a computer science person for a moment. It's like a binary search tree. You go on this side, there's all the things you want. You go on this side, there's all the other things that you don't want. Every other boss was nothing. That's a weird move.
It really is. Peasants made a stop in Troya and then realized he doesn't have a pass. He's going to need to take the walk. But Xenocat threw that D-Mist, and how close Xenocat can get is going to depend on how quickly they chase this. Gonna
They
put a
are.
save up on the moon.
And exit out. So this is chasing it, and this is going to get them in go mode as well.
And Xenocat will be just a few minutes behind.
Yeah, the problem is going to be the difference in levels. So they are going to have to get a few of those as well.
Yeah.
So
They have 7 sirens or so, and so they should have enough sirens. It'll just be a matter of getting those levels quickly. And it might, and I don't know, it might be too late. Peasants making the trek down. Peasants did collect those Bacchus wines, so should be okay on that front. Has 3 pretty good Zerkers, 1 exceptional Zerker.
Yep, and as he is clearing his way down through the subterrane, I've already seen some flags. They're early flags, but they're good flags, including from our Xenocat. We do a lot of things to randomize this game, and we do a lot of things to have a little fun, a little goofiness. One of those is to take Zeromus and be like, we don't want to look at you. We want to look at someone else, something else. Maybe Sephiroth. Maybe the abstract notion of Zero. There's like 500 different things that we want to look at. We're going to look at one of those this evening. Sheep Launcher, would you like to ask that in a more eloquent fashion?
Whose butt are we going to kick tonight? That's the question. Yeah, and I believe the exact number is 526, something like that. Different Zeromus sprites. They're really exceptional. Most of them done by just the greatest person, Scala-Kitty. And yeah, can't wait to see this particular sprite. The peasants. This isn't a free fight by any means. It's not. It's still going to take some doing with the levels that Peasants has, but with the Crystal Sword Cecil, he'll be confident.
Yep, Crystal Sword Cecil in the vanilla party. Hopefully, with enough agility anchoring set up that things won't go too far out of hand, but those are looking like hardy HP numbers. Let's see if he can pull it through.
Yep, if Peasants can get through this Zeromus fight without wiping out, he'll be through to the round of 16.
And our true colors this evening are... staring into your soul.
Ooh, the Illuminati is out to get us. Or something.
Or something to that effect.
Just looking at a real close-up of American currency, I think. I spy with my little eye a butt getting kicked.
I feel like for proportion's sake, this is actually a very large eye. And that's a pretty large nuke on Rosa.
Ooh.
And let's take a moment to pick her back up.
That Crystal Sword Cecil doing 5,000 damage. Nerf Big Bang and even Radio will stay up for now. The Xenocat, meanwhile, got their crystal. Will be racing towards Z themselves, maybe after getting a couple more levels.
Peasants is going to have to keep doing that maintenance healing on Rosa just to make sure she's in a safe enough spot. A high roll Big Bang, again, could just knock her out. And when you're doing Zerg strats, you're not focusing that much on nerfing subsequent bangs. The first one, pretty easy to nerf, but after that, it gets a bit tricky.
Yeah, and with the HP levels of the rest of the party, it's much better to have Rosa up, even with the Zerkers putting out the damage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he'll probably be fine, but the 1-2 punch of a Big Bang into Medio, it's knocked out some strong runners before, and it'll do it again.
There's that second Big Bang.
Oof.
Got high rolls there.
But Kane is not Zerked. That is some wise play. He's able to pick people up.
Oh, that's Medio.
That's Cade down. We are in the hands of Crystal Sword Cecil.
Crystal Sword Cecil, can he do it on his own?
He can.
He does. Crystal Sword Cecil and PeasantsOMFG has done it, defeating Zeromus and winning his round of 32 match with a time of 1:38:56. GG.
So we will see if we get Peasants in here for a bit of a post-race chat.
And it looks like PeasantsOMFG has joined us. GG.
Nope, we're not hearing Peasants quite yet.
Maybe it takes a little bit of time for the electrons to come through, but
Oh, nope, just classic microphone issues, sounds like. We'll get them fixed up in just a moment.
Yep. But what a race that was. A real test of skill and a little bit of guile in how our runners decided to take the routing that really kind of concentrated on just a couple of choke points.
Yeah, like I was saying, we were funneled through those two pretty well. One of them was very rude. That Odin, oof. But even so, like being funneled into one boss on the lunar subterrane and having one basically a decoy, a red herring over in Cave Bahamut. This was a tough one, and it's been an impressive showing from both of the runners. The Xenocat is going to head back to the moon. They are ready to take on Zeromus.
Yep, and while Xenocat's gonna make that run, do want to shout out the tournament that Xenocat had so far. 4-2 in the Swiss rounds. Defeated Rex Banner in the kind of play-in rounds. Defeated X Pancraz in the Swiss rounds, which is not an easy feat to do at all. Xenocat's had a heck of a tournament, so well done to them.
All right, I think we have peasants trying to get in here. We're not hearing anything, but I think we are closer, so we'll be a moment there. And Chad asking, yes, the spoiler roll, this is only going to show us where 3 of those remaining key items were. It doesn't show us where the pass is, and it's not going to tell us anything about the characters. So, was Tella in the Giants? We'll never know.
It will remain a mystery. The Xenocat into that lunar subterranean will soon find out the butt they're going to kick. Thought about stopping by the Masamune altar on the way, but decided, nah, Zeromus is right there.
It's okay, it was a rat tail into Baron Key.
And the chain started with that rat tail.
Yep, so the Earth Crystal is one of the Baron spots. And then the pass is either the other Baron spot or the top of Zot. Yeah, the mystery shall remain, unfortunately. The Xenocat is getting into that Zeromus fight. Let's see how it goes for them. Much larger numbers on their HP front, I dare say. Although it's partly just Rydia having a lot of health.
Yeah, that Rosa is above 1800, which is a little bit more of a cushion. The Zerkers at about 100 HP apiece more. And we'll see how that agility is going to work for them.
And of course, generally speaking, you want the lower your agility number in the middle spot, the better. But there are techniques and strategies you can do with using characters at a 14 or 28 to kind of set a good breakpoint for your party. And there's easy ways to get Cecil to those breakpoints.
Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you now, Peasant.
Hey,
hello.
OMFG, GG.
Hey, thank you. Sorry, I swapped to my phone. My mic just stopped working apparently.
No worries there. Yeah, GG, that was... Odin. Let's talk about Odin, shall we?
Let's not talk about Odin. Let's talk about something else.
Let's talk about how the seed forced you to do Odin at Leviathan.
That was rough. I feel like I was playing like really well until Odin, and then it took me so many attempts, and then I just kind of lost my nerves a bit, I think.
Well, I mean, that is a rude fight at a rude location, and to kind of get funneled into it, I believe you had a few more sirens kicking around at that point. Were you considering backing out and just trying to grind further on it, or?
I had one more siren left. I used like 4 of them before the fight, and then I had one left that I wanted to save. I could have gone back and I guess stole a couple more, but I didn't really want to do that.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. That's a large time investment.
Well, that seed was kind of a slacker's delight, where you only really needed to do 2 things in order to unlock the whole seed. What did you think of running around and doing so many unnecessary things, only to have it really funneled and concentrated into 2 spots?
There was just so many empty checks, just in a row. I think, but like tower, like all the moon checks besides the D-Mist, like it was just getting nothing every single time. And it wasn't even good items. It was like silent staffs and cat claws and stuff. I don't know. Wasn't nice.
Yeah, this was a surprisingly linear seed, but you managed to handle it rather well for how rude
Thank you.
it decided to be, and for how many canes it decided to throw at you.
Yeah, just stop giving me canes. Give me Tella.
We have no idea where Tella is.
Yeah, me neither.
I guess we'll never know. So, so you move on to the round of 16 and continue your really strong run in the tournament. How are your expectations going so far? Did you expect to make it this far further?
I think I probably expected it to make it to either here or to the next race, and then probably bomb it. But I mean, I don't want to jinx myself. Maybe I can do a little bit better. But I mean, I feel like I've been playing pretty well. Besides, like, I play well and then make a couple of errors here and there. Like Odin, I definitely, if I just had a better strategy, I definitely could have done something and got him in the first or second fight, surely. Yeah.
I mean, at this point, you would have had to go with what Xenocat went with, which just jumping with Kane and getting the Thunderstruck. That's basically the only easier way you could have done it.
It's kind of how I was, like, I had planned to jump with Kane. I think I jumped the first one on my successful attempt, and I was going to jump the second one, but I ended up lifing into, because I was counting the damage, I ended up lifing into getting Cecil and Kane alive, and just doing the last hit with Cecil. I think.
Honestly, that was a long fight. I don't remember everything that happened either. I just remember cheering and actually clapping when you finally pulled that through.
It was just me too. I was pretty ecstatic that I didn't have to do that fight again.
Yeah, that Cecil, that solo Cecil really saved you a couple of times in this scene.
Yeah, seriously. I wish I had better like armor or something for him. That maybe I could have done like a blink strat, but then I wouldn't have had the damage to output it. I don't know. It was definitely a tricky fight.
It was a tricky seed, and congratulations for getting through it and coming out the winner in this match.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for the restream and the comms. I'm excited to go and rewatch it.
GG's, peasants.
GG. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good one.
Yeah, you as well.
And GG to Xeno as well.
Yep, Xenocat has gotten through their Zeromus fight, coming in with an official time of 1:48:40. So we will get them in to do a little debrief right about now, it looks like. Xenocat, if you can hear us, GG.
Thank you.
That was a rude seed.
Yeah, that was a root seed.
But first off, huge props for the Thunderstruck on Odin. First off, flashy, good show. But it saved you a lot of time getting you through that fight pretty quickly, all things considered.
Well, yeah, I mean, I had the illusion in my inventory to do it, and so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do Canderstruck instead of trying to grind up and get through Odin naturally, because that Odin is really, really rude.
Yeah, it turns out very rude.
Yeah, that plague on ordeals kind of put you in a hole early on. Did you feel behind after that spot, feeling like you were running for your life there?
Pretty much. I felt behind a little bit before that, but with the reset of the Baron Inn, but that plague really cemented the idea that I was behind, and I felt behind for the entire rest of that seed.
So were there aspects on like how you routed things from there that were like specifically about trying to catch up on that?
Not so much through the rest of like the overworld and the underground. I went to the underground to do freebies first because I wanted to get some other character to do damage before going through the tarp check, which didn't happen, but turns out Edge with a longsword was actually okay.
Yeah, the longsword's surprisingly effective.
Yeah,
and-
no, usually you hate to see a longsword from a key item reward, but I actually didn't mind it.
and that moon was almost entirely haunted except for the
Yeah.
one D-mist.
Yeah, that D-mist had everything. Oh, goodness. I'm so glad I at least noped out right when I did.
Yeah, we were discussing, because peasants did find that first, and we were saying like, how valuable is that to make you leave? And peasants stayed on the moon for a little while, but I think you had the right idea of like, this is too good. I have to go check it.
I have to at least check it. It's 3 very fast checks. I didn't think it would actually be go mode, but I figured, it's 3 really fast checks for some extra key items. It could get me access to some other Earth chain that I could then follow for a chance at finding Tella. Say an Earth Crystal or Bearing Key, but then it was like, here's the Legend Sword, the Pink Tail, and the hook. You're in go mode. Have fun.
So more concentrated value than I think anybody would have expected.
Yeah, no, I did not expect go mode from that.
Well, your tournament unfortunately will come to an end with this race, but you've had a heck of a tournament with a 4-2 record in Swiss rounds, including a win over Ex Pancraz, a win in the play-in match, and a really good race here today. What are you going to take away from this tournament?
Well, I don't know. I had fun. I did not expect to make it past this round, so my bracket is spared. I did not ruin my own bracket. This is a near miracle. I'm actually quite happy about that. But now it's going to be get into doing more ladder races, start doing some other stuff other than free enterprise for a little bit, because I've been doing a lot of free enterprise. And then maybe learning how to restream at some point. That's also been a goal.
Hey, the community always appreciates more volunteers of more roles, so be happy to have you doing that.
Yeah, and you can give Asuka a seed like she gave you.
Sure, let's go with that. But yeah, thank you, Hupfin and Sheep Watcher, for calling this race. Thanks, Asuka, for the seed. As much as I hated it was a seed, and you rolled it, and you did a whole bunch of other work behind the scenes that was amazing. So thank you for doing that, and thank you, Cappy, for tracking.
Well, thank you, Xenocat, for a terrific race, and GG's again.
GG's and good night.
All right, so it sounds like that will do it for us for this evening. I will echo, thanking Asuka, our restreamer, Cappy, our tracker, and Sheep Launcher, my fellow commentator. Do you want to take us out for the evening?
Yeah, and thank you to Hupfin as well. Stay tuned with us. We're going to raid Silent Guardian, doing a variant of intermediate flags. They're a newer runner, so we're going to show some love to them. So let's head over there, cheer them on, and for Hupfin, for Asuka424, and for Cappy, I'm Sheep Launcher. So long.